Okay. Hi, Assalamualaikum everyone. Thank you for coming to this. I think I've got 30 minutes for the slot. Alright. So, first and foremost, a bit of introduction. I'm Manisa. I'm from Easy. And we started the company in 2011. We are branding people. So what we do for companies essentially is we support you on your branding and marketing. And over the last few years, we've been focusing a lot on how to use technology in order to facilitate brand growth and enhancement of your brand positioning, and specifically on AI since 2024. So the big question is, how can you build big without being big? So normally when you talk about branding and marketing, normally when you talk about building a brand, you always think that you have to have the big budget to be big. And this is something that we've kind of like been figuring out together with NPC. And first and foremost, one of the key things that you need to do as a brand is start with what is the problem that you are facing. Okay? So based on what we're showcasing today, essentially, is out of our project with NPC, where we worked on digital adoption that started with learning. Okay? But in the onset, when we worked with these brands, so again, we see them because we had about 100 of them, and in there we had all sorts of businesses, including retail and also F&B. And generally, the main issues that brands have is in terms of brand visibility, where they say that, I've been around for a long time and nobody has actually heard about me. They don't know my brand, okay? And then the second issue that a lot of businesses tend to have is that people who know that they have database, but they can't seem to engage with the customers that they have in their database. So you have email, you have phone number, and then this actually applies to public sector as well, not just private sector. And when it comes to brand engagement, you kind of like wonder, you have a lot of people that you know, but still they are not engaging with you. Like when you organize programs, they don't come, or when you're trying to engage with them at a deeper level on the products and services that you're offering, they're not engaging enough with you. And the third popular issue that a lot of brands tend to have is lead generation. So you're already engaging, but when it comes to them saying that, yeah, I have this problem and I can see that the solution can work for me, and then yes, I wanna buy this product or services, they don't. Okay? So these are the three key problems. Now, for you to be big without being big, if you don't start with the problem that you have, the problem with that is the solution that you're going to adopt is wrong. And the problem with a lot of organizations is that when they choose solution, they tend to go with free data. Is this free? Yeah. Do I have to pay or not? Right? Or if I have to pay, I don't want to use. Okay? That's one reason why we have what we call this productivity paradox. Okay? You have all this support being given, right? For you to learn about the solutions that you can use. But then, when you're not using the solution that you're usually using, you're choosing the ones which are free, then that's where you end up with not getting results that actually solve the problem that you have actually identified. So what you see on the screen here is actually the 100 case study of SMEs that have defined what are their problems and what they want to solve with technology, but they had to go through this process of trying to figure out which technology is suitable for them. Okay? Then when the AI came in, okay, so you might be the user of ChatGPT, maybe? You guys use ChatGPT, Claude, some use Gemini, right? So over the last 1 year, what the GPTs have been able to do is make you feel like you're using AI. Okay? But what the GPTs have been doing is they got you to use AI in a certain way. Okay? But if let's say you are an organization that's trying to actually push your product or services over to a certain market, and your problem is the kind of problem that cannot be solved by just generating a set of words or visual. It has a deeper need for a different type of solution. So, when you look at the kind of solutions that you have to go back to the problem that you are facing. So, when you choose solutions that solve this problem specifically, then it is where, when you use it, even if you have to pay, you find that you are solving the problem. And that is where you find that when it comes to the results, in terms of productivity for brand marketing, it's quite straightforward. The first you will see is your sales goes up. Okay? You solve this problem. Sales goes up. The second thing that you will see, or some will see, is that your marketing costs will go down. Okay? Your marketing costs will go down. The third sign that your brand marketing is working is that your database will go up. And the fourth one, essentially, is in terms of the efficiency itself. That your team is doing things faster, for example. So if we go back to the problem, now what would affect your visibility, what would affect your engagement, and what would affect your lead generation? In terms of the output, if you solve the problem, it is not just making more money. It can be in other forms, and then sometimes it will take you a bit more before you can actually see the financial results. But when you are clear in terms of actually what is your problem, that is where, when it comes to the solution and the expected productivity output, you're a lot more clearer. So let me give you an example. During our masterclass with MPC Retail MD, so one of the brands said that my problem is my design team is very slow. We asked them to produce campaign. When they take a while to produce the posters, and then by the time we get it, it's a while already, and then the posters are not according to what we want. And then when we are running, we don't know what's going on. We don't know what is the result. So in that case, if you look at the subject matter, it seems like we need somebody to actually run the campaign more efficiently, right? But when we went back to the issue, we found that in their case, because the brand has multiple products, so they have some visibility issues in certain sub-brands, some brand engagement issues, and then some of the sub-brands have lead generation, have all the problems. Okay? But the core of the problem was that the teams were not working together efficiently. So what they needed was an AI tool that would help them automate the process, but not just automate the process. They needed this ability to be able to capture the creative direction from the key people, so that when the promotion is on that the outcome, let's say the outcome is that is targeted for is the ability to hit sales, higher sales, right? So when you have an AI solution that you choose that allows you to capture all the stakeholders' decision making, so that the whole process of automating can bridge between one department from another department, so then you will find that the results is a lot more likely. So I'm not so sure whether people have any experience with that. Like you have somebody else doing the marketing or the design, and then you're covering something else, and you find that there's no synchronization. And the synchronization itself is what's causing the delay. Have you guys experienced that? So if you have, it's quite similar to the case with this particular SME that we work with. They're not a small SME, but a lot of, if I can say, loss in productivity can actually result in loss of income, which is what happened to them. So, when it comes to selecting the solution, so basically you have to know your issue and then be clear about the outcome that you're trying to achieve. So that's one aspect. But another aspect that I'd like to share is that, and this is a bit very from my point of view, but this is actually a life cycle. So when you choose a solution, you have to be mindful at which stage is the technopreneur in. If let's say the technopreneur is actually at mass, so when you use tools like, say for example like Google Suite, right? Google is very established. So they have passed early adoption and early majority. So that means they are very established, they are very widespread, and of course the challenge with working with big brands is that they are less personal. So if you are the type that needs that personal touch with the technopreneurs, something that you may want to consider is working with those who are at the early stages. Because when they are at the early stages, you can actually engage with them a lot more. You can influence the way that the solution applies to you a lot more. Okay? So from the pool that we had from the Dahlia program in 2023, we have a mix, but most of them were basically at early stage. One of them is actually an Indonesian brand that came to Malaysia. They soft landed through the program. They made in Indonesia, but they localized through the program. Okay? So like for our program with MPC, Retail and F&B, we had to be a bit more selective, because not all of the technicians were able to cater for the problems that the brands have. Because in this year's program, the focus was on AI adoption for retail and F&B, right? But the fundamental is the same. Must start with your problem, okay? So whatever your role is, whatever your organization is, you've got something that you want to work on, right? Earlier, the session by my counterpart, he talked about Mismatch. So Mismatch is a program in partnership with MPC. You want to be able to create more visibility. Let's say not a lot of people are visible in the program, right? And although, if let's say the stakeholders that you're working with are technology companies as well, they also need to address branding, and they need to address the issues and explore the solutions that is available for them to adopt. Okay? But if you look at the whole process, now this takes me to this part of the timeline. Now for any organization, you need to go through this step-by-step process of adopting solutions that can help you be big without being big. what is the problem that you're having. Okay? The second thing that you need to do is you need to look at and understand what are the solutions that can solve the problem. Okay? And in doing that, you need to be clear in terms of what is the output, the productivity output that you are going for. Because in branding and marketing, although it is not a process, people say that it's not process driven, it's creative driven. Actually, branding and marketing is also a subject matter that involves process. There are steps involved, right? So when it comes to productivity in branding and marketing, it can be at a decision making level, and it can be at a operational supporter level, right? So whichever problem that you want to solve, you need to explore solutions to choose from. And once you've chosen the solution, then you need to look at how to implement. The problem with a lot of us is we are browsing, but we don't make a decision, right? Browsing 100 solutions and then not making a decision is as good as not doing anything, right? So what I suggest businesses do or organizations do is that try to break your digital adoption into phases. Every quarter, look at one tool. Look at one problem and look at one tool. So when you break it up into quarters, that allows you to explore multiple solutions. But in the onset, you gotta get your problem right. You don't want, of course, we all don't want problems, right? But you need to get your problem right. Because if you choose the problem that is not critical, okay, it's a very menial or it's a very not substantial problem, you will find that you're not going to see results that you want. So choose a problem that is critical for you, and then choose a solution that will solve the problem. But when it comes to budget, I have to say, you need to be willing to invest in tools in order to ensure that you get the best out of the tools that solve your problem. But at the same time, it's about how you are exploring. Okay? If let's say you have a big problem that you want to solve, and then you only look at one or two tools, one or two technologies, is that enough? I think like in tender processes for government, you have this general rule that you have to at least have 3 options, right? To show that you have done your comparison, isn't it? Right? For businesses, for SMEs, they don't have that kind of rule. But sometimes that's right. They want to be fast. So what they do is that, okay, I look at your solution, it seems like okay, and then if you charge me, oh that's expensive. If you give me free, okay, that's affordable. So that's a problem juga lah, because of the mindset. So tak boleh juga like that. So exploring options and understanding how the options can actually solve the problem. So that is the way to go. Now, why do I mention public sector in the same breath as the SMEs? I think when you're operating with minimal budget, when you're operating, if you're on a tight budget, okay, you are also the ones trying to do big things with no big budget. Yeah. So if you're in that situation where you are given a very limited budget to work with, this philosophy actually will be very good for you. Because fundamentally, if you know your problem, you prioritize. Actually, if you say you end up with, say, one more targets to work with. Okay? So do that so that you can spread out your digital adoption process. But know where you want to position your brand when you are doing this. Even if it's a program, be clear about who you are targeting, what do you want to be known for. Be clear about that, and then from there, it will help you be focused. Otherwise, you will go all over the place, right? And then you start blaming technology. You guys are not solving my problem. I pay so much, and you're not showing me the results. How come I'm not viral? I think that's some of the popular terms used to say that the technology is not working, right? So that I would say is key to how to do big things by not being big. Can you understand? Time check. Okay. Any questions from the audience? Perhaps? I know we still from public sector. How about media? Okay. You guys have to do anything for government? Sorry? Do you do branding for government sectors? Sorry? Do you do branding for government sectors? Oh yes, we do. Yeah. We do branding for public sectors. We have a few public sector clients. We do branding for Smart Selangor. Yeah, for Zakat, we did brand presidents, and we looked at how to enhance their brand based on the brand presidents. Yeah. So we do support a lot of public sectors in brand building of their stakeholders as well. Yeah, so we work with retailers, we work with MBC. But with MBC, specifically, a lot based on digital adoption. Yeah, but we focus on how to enhance brands with adoption of digital. With either marketing technology or with AI. Because especially when you talk about AI, there's macam-macam. There's a lot of different types of AI in the market, and it is crazy when we do our survey. Almost everybody says that we understand how to use GPT. We understand how to use the popular tools to create words and visual, right? But AI is not just about that. AI is also about how do you look at your progress in social media, for example. Basically, you can utilize analytics from multiple platforms that you use and analyze to see actually have I been using it in a way that gives me the right position. Yeah, so we actually teach businesses to use AI to reflect on how they are pushing their brand, how to build their brand, how to analyze the products that they are offering, the services that they are offering, whether they are the right products and services, whether the segments that they are targeting is the right segment. Because sometimes it does happen, you come up with a solution, maybe a program or something, and then you say, okay, I want to push it to this type of segment. But you tengok, tak match. Kan? Tak kena. Yeah.
We always encounter SMEs. We are reluctant to get into digitalization or AI. So, what would be your advice for this kind of company? Most of them, they are scared of the cost that they have to pay.
Oh, yeah. I know what you're talking about. Actually, from the SMEs that we work with, specifically on digital adoption, more cash flow. So we find that their point of view is slightly different from the first time because they're likely to be more optimistic. They will be more optimistic, right? Then the type that has database, heavy spending, we find that they can be a lot more aggressive. So on your side, what I suggest you do is that when you interact with SMEs, you do profiling. So that you know that if let's say they fall into the category yang memang susah, they just started, no database, right? And then you look at the spending pun, they don't really spend much. So you know that even if you force them to adopt, don't give them options where they have to spend a lot. So that's why when we bring together our techies, it's normally based on profiling. We must have the free option or what we call freemium. It means the techies are willing to, in a way, let them try. And then if it works, then they will pay. So in a way, it's a good test for the techies as well. Because if let's say they deliver, right, then obviously they have cash flow. But in our program, we've actually had SMEs who have paid. So we have like 2 or 3 of the developers that was doing a subscription of 5,000 for like a few months. The one was 5,000 monthly. So we had SMEs that paid because we were able to actually connect between the problem that they are having. Because the problem is actually set by the SMEs. So we are the ones that actually establish that this is my problem. So based on the demo done by the techies, they realize that okay, this one can solve my problem. Okay, there's some that actually they choose the 2 or 3, and then they find that okay, this one is a bit on the high end. Let me start with these ones first. Let me build up my cash flow, and then I can go with the more expensive one. But it's about options. It's about finding. I think especially when you're dealing with small businesses, you have to have a lot of empathy. A lot of empathy for them. The mistake that a lot of program organizers make is they have this kind of like a negative assumption. Oh, like orang ni yang sedih, don't want to pay. Actually, we cannot have that mindset. The people who go into businesses when they are small, normally they work with certain constraints. So if we understand their profile and then we understand the constraints that they're working with, and we support the constraints, and it doesn't necessarily mean you have to actually give money. Actually, our programs we try to avoid because spending on digital adoption, it needs to come from your operational expenses. Then it will be part of your financials for the long run. When you give it as a subsidy, the problem with that is that you are using it because of the subsidy and not because you feel like you need to use the subsidy. Subsidy can but I think the circumstances is both kita dengan sensitivity dia lah. Because if let's say you're using it to as a startup or trial, right? That's okay, but not for the long run.
I mean, like, basically, why government gives subsidies for, especially on digitalization, is for the startups to engage with people. But I think the problem is always about sustaining it. It's not about engaging as a first engagement. It's about sustaining it.
Yeah.
You realize the sustainability fails.
Yeah. So this is you're saying the subsidy given to the startup, right?
Yeah.
The tech startup. Okay, right. Actually, if you talk about the startup, that's another side of the story as well. Because when it comes to the startups, they themselves also need to look at their revenue. example, you offer something that is needed for somebody that does not want to pay for it or cannot pay for it. Then you have a business model problem, right? So there has to be a match there, and then you have to look at your positioning versus your competitor. So when you look at the uniqueness of your product versus your competitor, then you know, am I offering something that is different from somebody else or not? And then, as a tech startup, I will also need to look at what is the brand identity of the technology that I need to offer to the one that is that I'm targeting. All that before I start marketing. So when, let's say, under the guise of the subsidy, right, I get this position where, okay, I can charge, say like what, 5,000 or 10,000. We have some matching grants available. The challenge with that is that we are not sure whether the take-up is genuine or not. Right? So that's the problem. I would say there's a challenge when you have a subsidy. But I'm not saying that we don't need it, because some target market, because of the fact that the technology is super new, right? It needs to get some level of support. So that's why if you look at AI, for example, what the AI developers have to do is they have to actually go underwater, rely on funding to be able to get their product out, test the market, get data. For AI, if they don't have sufficient data, they cannot do machine learning. So certain types of technology have to actually function that way. So I think because of the support to be given, you need to be able to distinguish. Even the technology as well, we need to do some profiling there to see what would be suitable. Yeah, so when it comes to the question of do we still need subsidies? Yeah, we still need to. But from a business concern, SMEs, even large companies for that matter, right? It is already time that digital adoption is part of the business. It's not investment. Some may have capex, maybe. Certain types of industry where they have to buy machines that come with it, the more modern type of technology. I think if you go to some of the exhibition over here, they talk about how you can use AI to detect defect, right? Those kind of things. So some businesses have to put in the capex, yes. But at the end of the day, it's back to the positioning that the brand wants. The positioning that the brand wants, and then the solution that is suitable for them. It needs to match. And the expected outcome, it needs to match as well. So if that doesn't match, then you find that you're not seeing the results that you want. But timeline-wise, the process involves learning. You need to learn. Figure out the solution, and then you need to adopt. And that is not a one-time process, it's actually a series. It's a series. But how do you organize it? So that's why just now I said, to organize your digital adoption, go by the issues. Prioritize